looking forward to our conference coming up in August. Now, we're now getting at a point, you guys, that it is time to start taking some action on your tickets. So as you see on my background here, I added that on there. You can save $200. The full retail ticket price is $397, but until April 30th, you can save $200. Now that makes your ticket, just subtract that, $197 for a wonderful time of getting together and all of the things that we have in store for you. So really make sure you get on and get your ticket. I don't want anybody to pay full price. Right? We want everybody to come at the reduced price. So think about getting on there. I figure now we're in the middle of March, if you can even believe it. I mean, the middle of March already. It's like, oh my gosh. So it's not that long to get that. So we've got about, I guess that would be about 6 weeks to get your ticket. And you can still do it on a payment plan if you want to do that. So that gives you a lot of options for that. So come shine your divine with us in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Yes. So let's talk about compliments. Oh, there's Dr. Denise this morning. Yay. Good morning.
Good morning.
And those of you in Vegas, remember to get your tickets. It's weird when so February and March, our date for our luncheon is the 23rd. That's the way the calendar works out. So March 23rd, which feels like the third week of the month, but it really is the fourth week by the way that the calendar falls. So again, on that, it feels like last month it felt like we met so early. And so just how the calendar does. So here in Vegas, get your ticket for your in-person lunch. So Lisa, how do you feel when somebody gives you a compliment and says, well, matter of fact, I gave you one this morning. I said, oh, I like your background. It is. It's so pretty.
Yeah,
the sky.
Thank you. Well, I have had an evolution in my life about compliments. I used to just shed them off like water because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. I did not accept, well, and part of it was my self-esteem too. Oh, not really, or oh, you're just joking, or I'm really, no, I'm this. You don't know me very well. Things like that. I would just shed it off, and I started realizing that that was not good. Well, for one thing, our talents come from God, and the other thing is that accepting a compliment graciously was part of good communication and humility, and it would also help my self-esteem. So it's been a gradual change in my life.
And I think you're right. I think that oftentimes just how we're raised makes a difference on that. And we think we're supposed to be, oh, we're so demure. Oh no, not accepting that whole thing. And yet we all enjoy somebody noticing and saying something nice to us, like, oh, you look great today, or whatever that is, or you have a beautiful smile, or I love your hair. And I think the one most important thing, I think, when giving a compliment is to be authentic. Don't just say something, just for the verbiage of it, but really mean what you're saying. And I think people can feel that it is real, that you're saying it from the heart.
Well, and Kathy Weaver said, sometimes we feel like we just don't deserve it. And I would have to agree, that was part of my self-esteem issue. There's also a more subtle shade of a shadow in this, and that is that when we refuse a compliment, sometimes it comes from the fact that we're thinking that person is not being honest in their compliment to us. And I think that's a real disservice to the person to assume. And it's, like I said, this is a subconscious thing, not a conscious thing, in my opinion. We don't always trust what everybody tells us. We think they're flowering it up. A lot of times when I give a compliment and somebody sheds it off like that, or deflects it, I'll say to them, I'm really honest in how I tell people things. If I didn't think your eyes sparkle, I'd tell you had a nice nose. If you didn't have a nice nose, I'd say your hat had a beautiful flower. But I would compliment something authentically, like you said. So it goes both ways, that when we compliment, be authentic in that compliment. And also when you're receiving it, assume that that person has every intention of meaning what they say.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the reason we may think that they're not authentic is because of our deserve level. Well, they must be just
Exactly.
making that up. They're just making that up. Like even with your kids, I know I would tell Alicia, I'm like, oh, honey, you just look so beautiful today, or you look so great. And let me tell you, my daughter Alicia has the most beautiful long red hair I've just ever seen. I just love it. And she'll say, oh, mom, you just say that. You're supposed to say that, So our kids, that they don't think we're authentic because they think, well, we're the parents, so we have to say good things. But that's not true. I never would even lie to my kids. I would always find the good thing. And I think that goes back to that from the giving standpoint, being authentic, it also is that always looking for good. When we're looking for good in other people, and we can always find something that uplifts and encourages them. And so I think it's nice to make a practice of giving out compliments. And I think the more we bless others, the more we give them out, the more we begin to understand how to receive it. And Kathy's absolutely right. The best answer, the best response is always thank you. I was with Jen Bricker this weekend. I was at a ladies' conference and speaking up in Kanab, Utah. Never been there before. And it was great. They had almost 200 women at this women's forum is what they called it. And she spoke, and she's our friend that was born without legs. She hasn't been on in a while, but she's been at a couple of our conferences. And I watched her, and of course, people give her compliments all the time. I mean, she spoke, she did a great job. She spoke for an hour and a half, answered questions, and she just did a great job. And she's married now and expecting a baby. I was so excited for her.
Oh, cute.
Isn't that great? I mean, she never thought this would be her life. And so she's just wonderful. But she was so gracious. Every time somebody would say something, she just said a very sweet thank you. She really meant it. She was gracious. And I think what that does is it actually reflects back to the person who gave the compliment. It's appreciating them taking the time. So when you give a compliment, that person takes it, you feel good that you did it. But when somebody slushes it off, like, oh, this old thing, or, oh, I've had this, oh, you look so great. That dress is so pretty. Oh, this old thing I've had in the closet for 20 years. That's degrading the person who gave it to you. So, I think that too, that it can insult the person who's trying to be nice to you.
Yeah. I mean, look at the scriptures and how much God compliments his own children. And there's a lot of neat celebration of his children and what we do. And I think that that's an example of things. And if you want to, like, if you really feel like you need to, even Christ, when people would compliment, he would give honor back to the Father. And so I think that there's ways that we can say graciously that we give honor to other people for what they're giving us compliments to. But part of it is, and I would say to people, this is an action step. If you are having problems accepting a compliment, are you listening to this, Rihanna? If you are having problems accepting a compliment, come here for a minute. Can I tell them what we were talking about last night? Okay, so this is my granddaughter, Rihanna.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning. How wonderful to see you.
So she can't hear you because I've got an earpiece.
Oh, okay.
But we're gonna talk. She said hi, and we were talking about how beautiful she was, and we were looking at these pictures, and she was having a hard time feeling that. She was having a hard time feeling that she was beautiful because she's been being teased at school.
Oh.
And people have been kind of mean to her. So this is really hard for her. But you know what? One of the things that you can do is you can go look in the mirror and you can tell yourself that you look beautiful. And you may not believe it right away, okay? But go in the mirror and say, I'm a child of God and I am beautiful, okay? And if you don't believe yourself, then you have to look in the mirror and imagine grandma going, you better believe it. But sometimes we just have a hard time having that enough self-esteem to accept that compliment. And that's not something that, is bad, but that's just something we have to exercise. So look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful and say, thank you.
Okay, and you tell her you are beautiful and you have an awesome
Yeah.
smile.
Everybody's telling you you're beautiful. And that's even with wet hair.
Yeah, Alicia says here, hi, honey, good morning. Says affirmations on post notes on the mirror. You can write yourself little notes and say, like your mom, like your grandma would say, I am beautiful. I'm a child of God. I was created for great things because you are. Your friends are going to make you feel less than. And that I can tell you, so you're going to have to translate, that probably the reason they tease you is because they're jealous of you. You really are a lovely young girl. And many people get jealous, so they beat up on you, so to speak.
Yeah. She says the reason that they tease you is because they're jealous of you, because you're really pretty. So, all right. Thank you for letting me borrow you.
I love that. Alicia says, my girls have them on walls in their rooms. Because sometimes we do need to affirm or declare. I know Kathy always uses the word declarations, and I love that too. I actually like declarations better than affirmations.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because you're declaring the good at the thing. And any of y'all who've been in retreats and things with us, I'm always trying to get women to look at the good things about themselves. Like, so let's take the compliments to this level. Compliment yourself as who you are as a child of God. We're not saying like, oh man, I'm so awesome. I'm not talking about that egotistical thing that we're all so worried about. And I don't know any of you that I know are so not egotistical. I don't think you have to worry about that for 1 second, but give yourself credit for who God created you to be with whatever that talent is. So a couple of the questions that I asked this weekend, one was, what is one physical trait that you like about yourself? To actually stop and think, what is something you like? Maybe it's your hair, maybe it's your eyes, whatever that physical trait is. And what is one thing that you appreciate? Now, this is different than a physical trait, but what's one thing that you appreciate about yourself, of who you are? Because when we can appreciate who we are and be grateful, so it goes back to gratitude too. So giving yourself compliments as who you are today, imperfect as we all are, but we can still look at the good things that God has given to us.
Yeah, Kathy said with bullies, they pick on something they wish they had. And I'm so positive that we're going to relay all these messages to Rihanna after this, because I'm cooking breakfast for him. So
good.
It says, I've heard from my mother for years that people are jealous, so they point the finger at someone else so they don't have to look and work on themselves. Yes, I totally agree that it's a lot of times when we receive that negativity, it's really the self-esteem of the other people that they're challenged. I mean, middle school is brutal. And God made you give the glory. God made you give the glory to God. Yes, for sure. So, and other people are talking about, Lisa said, yes, she loves her hair, and sorry, I'm saying it right. That her smile is her virtue. And it's so cool when we celebrate that too.
Well, it really is. I think when we appreciate who we are, that makes God smile. Like, this is my child, and she finally seeing the good in herself. It's like, as a mom, when I see my kids struggle and feel bad about themselves and say, I'm so ugly, or whatever the things that they sometimes say, or the kids are making fun of them at school. And Alicia had a lot of that. Justin did too. I think everybody does. I mean, like you said, junior high, even high school are brutal. So you have to really, really build yourself up so that you can go and know who you are inside. That really wasn't our topic, but I love where the organically always goes. Because I think it's just so important, because when you're fortified on the inside, then it's easier to just let those things my suggestion is, don't ever argue. Don't try to take up for yourself. I mean, that kind of thing, because it's never, nobody's going to win. You know, they're getting the rise out of you, which is what they want. They want it to bother
Yeah.
you. So
Well,
knowing
and sometimes aren't we our worst bully? I mean,
yeah.
we're sitting in the mirror and I was like, oh, my nose is crooked. and we're looking at this and I'm like, the face is actually made to not be even. If nobody knows this, by the way, as an artist, when you draw characters, if you draw them perfect all the way down, it absolutely tips off that you don't know how to draw people. If you draw people, you always draw just a little off on each side because that's how the human body is made. And so if you're in the mirror and you're cursing at yourself because this eye is just a little lower than the other one, or what, this eyebrow is not the same as that, you're just not this perfect mirror. That's how God created us, and for whatever reason. But it adds to the uniqueness of who we are.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And for a long time, I didn't know that. I kept thinking that it was supposed to be when I was younger. It's like, well, why isn't this? And it's like, oh, everybody's kind of that way. We're not this perfect something. And that's what makes us perfect. The fact that we're not exactly the same on both sides and all that, but that's our uniqueness. It sets us apart, like that different, we all have different DNA and different fingerprints. So it does. So when you're out, I really encourage you this week, when you're out, really look for good and start giving compliments and see what a blessing that is to other people. I mean, I just, and I remember when Jennifer would join us, she got so busy at work. I mean, darn it. Then she got so busy at work that she can't be with us on the show anymore. But those of y'all who remembered Jennifer being with us, that is the thing that she talked about a lot. That was very strong for her, is that really looking and giving compliments and going that extra mile. I don't know if some of y'all recall, but she would oftentimes be somewhere, could be a restaurant or whatever, and she would compliment the server, and again, being authentic. If they did a really great job, then you compliment that. And then she would go that next step and ask to see the manager. And I think this might have come up somewhere lately, but I just remember Jennifer telling this story, and the manager would come over, always anticipating there's a problem, because usually it's only problems people ask. And then she would tell them what a great server and how much help they'd been. And the girl, whoever the server was, would just beam to know that somebody paid that much attention, because it shows that you're recognizing them. And so whether it's the clerk at the checkout or someone at the restaurant or wherever it is that you're going, you are showing them that they're not invisible. You're showing them that you notice and they're important. And it's amazing. You will feel better for doing it as they do for receiving it.
Yeah, it says you can make someone else's day by a compliment. You never know what someone is going through, and it could change their day and week. I had this opportunity when I was in a church, and the lady walked up, and there was things going on, and I said to her, just in a whisper, I just pulled her close, and I said, your hair is just remarkable. I'm like, when I grow up, I want to have hair like you. And she just, even though I didn't do my hair normally, she's like, this is the first time I haven't done my hair. It made me feel so good that you told me, because I've been spending the whole time going, I don't know my hair. Oh, like she normally does. So that compliment made her go at ease. So like Alicia said, you never know what that compliment is going to do for that person. And it might just reassure them that in their time of challenge, that things are good.
Really, I think so. My mother, as y'all know, I've talked about her a lot, is 93. She gets out, drives her car, goes all over the place. And I have to tell you, she wears it kind of spiky. She does not have an old lady haircut. I'm just saying, she wears it kind of spiky, and it's this beautiful silvery gray. It's not really gray, it's really silver, so pretty. And she gets such a kick. People give her compliments on her hair all the time. And then she'll call me and she said, oh, the lady at the mall today stopped me and told me I had the most beautiful hair she's ever seen. I mean, it made my mother's day. And she tells me all the time, people do it because she is striking as she goes out and about. And so it really does make a difference. So if you're feeling, take a day when you might be feeling down or depressed or out of sorts, get out of the house. First of all, physically change where you are, but get out and just go amongst people and look for good and make those compliments. And I am promising you can't stay in that negative zone or that kind of off zone very long when you're really finding good and giving those compliments to other people. It's such a blessing.
No. You know, the other thing is when somebody is having a bad day and maybe they're not looking so perfect, is to find the one thing that is shining about them and make sure that you let them know, because that can lift the mood as well. You know, and man, I think the whole world would be a much better place instead of all the complaining and honking and, you know, the noise that goes on in the world. It would be so much a better place if we really had a problem because we had too many compliments falling on each other.
Yeah, what are they like? Oh, kidding. I don't think I can handle all these compliments. It just,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great. It's such a wonderful thought. And it doesn't take any time. And it doesn't take, I mean, it's actually so much easier to say good things than it is to say negative, you know, because negative starts that oppressive feeling on you. And I'm going to get this scripture is not going to be right, but I just read it this week and I marked it in my Bible, which is in the other room, which I didn't go get, but something to the effect of a timely word is good medicine. I'm not sure that's exactly right, but the scripture talks about him. So that timely word, you never know when that's just the perfect time for somebody else when you reach that out. And the other thing I'll say about compliments, when you, for instance, if you went to church and the pastor's message really touched you, and you know, so rather than being general, it's really nice when you can give really specific compliments. Yeah. So instead of, oh, that was a great sermon today, Pastor, like, Pastor, I love how you pointed out that illustration of la la la, whatever that was, so that it's like, oh my gosh, somebody actually listened. I mean, you know, he knows they're out there listening. Same thing when somebody that you know. So as a singer, I love it when people would come and say, you know, and then usually they're very gracious and say nice things about, you know, it was great, loved hearing you. But when somebody says, oh my gosh, the way you made that transition between da 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 was just great, or the words to that song really touched me. When you can be specific in your compliments, it really goes another level. Good point. It really does, as opposed to just, oh, that was so great, you know.
Yeah, no, that really is a good point, because the specifics tell us a lot about how that person felt about their compliment first.
And sometimes you may point out to someone something that maybe they were not sure that they were going to put into their speech or their presentation, and yet you bring that out, shows them that, oh, well, I guess that was a good, you know, that was a good piece I added in. Or sometimes you say something, you know, I know as a speaker, pretty much I'm always open. Wherever God leads is where I go. I have it planned and I have my outline and I know what I'm saying, but then sometimes it goes someplace totally different, just like this morning, you know, just how that just organically grows. And sometimes that really touches people. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back to our last conference here in Vegas in 2017. In one of the sessions that we were doing, I don't know why I did it, except God did it. I told a little bit about a financial situation that Bill and I had been through, and how we got through that, and how God's grace, you know, brought us through, and that whole transition. And I had a couple people come up and say, you can't believe how that touched me. We've been dealing with some of these things too. And I didn't plan that, you know. But when they, you know, so we never know how we're touching people, even when we don't know that we're touching people. So that the sort of the difference, and she gave me the compliment, which assured, or that's not the right word, affirmed that what I had done was the right thing at that particular point in time.
Yeah. Well, and we need to encourage each other. That's just part of what keeps the strength going. So.
Absolutely, it really does. And again, the scripture talks about that, about encouraging and lifting each other up, and we're told to do that because it helps all of us. So we all get better with that. So, well, I guess look at this. Here we are getting at the top of the hour again. Thank all of you for all of your input and making your comments in the chat. That's always nice. Alicia, thanks for being here. Kathy and Sherry, it's like so awesome to see everybody take their time. I want to remind you again as we close up here that our conference right there, the 7th, Wow the World conference is happening in August 4th, 5th, and 6th. If you have not yet put it on your calendar, you better get it on now, because you wait another month and you're going to start filling it in and you're going to say, oh man, I wish I had put that on my calendar. You'll start planning a family vacation, forgetting that that's the date that you're coming to Vegas. So make sure it's on your calendar, and then go on and get your tickets so that you do not get left out. We don't want you to pay full price. So save that $200. And I look forward to, the other things that we're offering, but I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you in person, where we can actually give a hug. And if you're uncomfortable with a hug, whatever it is, being within a couple of feet space where we can really look at each other and really compliment each other and say how great it is to be together. That power of being live in person is just so amazing. Well, it's powerful. It makes a difference. This is great. I don't know what we do. I'd be so, we're so blessed to be able to meet online and virtually and have all this. But that next level, again, it takes us another level. So really consider coming and like I said, get your ticket. So Lisa, any last compliment, when you like compliments, any last comments on compliments?
I would just like to say that our women are awesome. So I can't see you, but I know you're looking beautiful today. And I know that you are helping other people. And I just think that all of our audience is a great example of Christianity. So I just appreciate you. Absolutely.
Wonderful way to compliment our audience, because you guys could be anywhere. And we so appreciate you showing up here at, depending on what time zone you're in, but showing up here at 7:30 our time here in Las Vegas. And we just appreciate you being here. And make a little note. What is your favorite thing that you like about yourself? It could be a physical, it could be another, that you love people, that you love to be of service. What's the favorite thing you like about yourself? And take a little sticky note or a piece of paper and tape it on your mirror, so that always reminds you of that great characteristic that you have. So, and Kathy says here, it's nice to have our efforts validated. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you guys for being here. Remember that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. So choose to look for good, choose to give compliments to those around you, and choose to love yourself and just love who you are created to be, because you are amazing. All right, now see y'all next time, and thanks for being here. God bless. See you next time. Bye-bye.